Hello, I'm Derek Diana Johnson. Derek's the mask name, Diana's the fem name. And, well, since my last Tulsi video did so well and she did a response, I'm gonna milk this cow for all it's worth, because that's how you play the YouTube game. So I'm going to go to her video where she tries to explain herself about the bill, and I'm going to give my reaction and thoughts to it. Okay, just started the video, and she basically just says a bunch of nothing, but introduces the first running theme here that will be biological distinction, which, yes, there is a biological distinction between the male and female sex. However, there are also intersex people to which this distinction may or may not apply. So what about them? Bet I'm not going to get an answer on that. Well, I'm going to pause recording and resume and give my thoughts when we get to the other interesting parts of the video. Okay, our next little point is basically that the institutions would require money for separate programs for biological girls and females, which, biological only really extends to sex. You can use the term girl interchangeably with females, but girl has become more known for gender, which does not have much of a basis in biology. Again, this just seems like she's trying to just, introduce subtly the idea that, trans girls aren't real girls and we need to keep our women safe. Which, look, I already gave went over my thoughts in my last Tulsi video. If you want me to do a video explaining my whole thoughts on the situation, I might do that later on when I'm through with some other things I'm working on. Okay, we get to her basically talking about how women's sports weren't allowed to be taken as seriously or were extremely limited before Title IX, which is actually true. But again, this seems like she's just trying to basically use good things about Title IX to, and I'll get to this later on, basically try to discredit anybody who disagrees with her legislation. Sorry about that. But that we'll touch upon later on. Okay, on to our next point where she does talk about, again, benefits of women in sports. It's how they're more likely to become how there are a bunch of CEOs of companies who did women's sports, how they're less likely to drop out of school, or, get pregnant, or drink, or smoke, and all that is good stuff, I'll admit. Underage, of course. Talk about how they're healthier and more empowered, which are good things, but again, it just seems like she's doing this so that she can set up later on that if you don't support her bills, you're just hate women, which, no, I don't. I am kind of a woman. Tulsi. No, I hate people using bad science to just discriminate against an entire... I don't know the right word to use here. Let's just go with category of woman. Which Tulsi, by saying all trans women cannot compete in sports, you are literally, by your own logic, putting women more at risk for these things. They're just not women that were assigned female at birth. Yeah, this is the point where things get really bad at the 338 mark. Basically, she talks about how some states are misinterpreting Title IX to harm women and girls and deny them opportunities. How is allowing trans women who are already on HRT and don't have proven to not have an advantage competing with cis women in sports, denying them opportunities. How is that harming cis women and girls? It's not. It's just expanding opportunities for more women. Not even halfway through this yet. Ugh. Now she says biological men identifies biological as women to compete against biological tulsi. You ever considered maybe they are women? And that their HRT is actually giving them less of a chance? There have been trans women competing against cis women before who haven't won. And yes, if the man in question the woman in question has not started her HRT yet, then yeah, you do have a fair point there. But Tulsi, it seems like you're leaving a bit out here and just, well, using this as an excuse to be transphobic. Then we get to the point where things get continue to be bad. She basically talks about how this transgender misgenders the person in question, bodied runner, won in Connecticut, so that proves that all trans athletes shouldn't be allowed to compete. And looking this up, she did get a minor thing wrong in that Andrea Yearwood. Wait a second, allow me to check just to make sure. Yeah, Andrea Yearwood is 17, but there are already instances of like kids at 15 and 14 competing with on the boys team in schools. So I fail to see how that proves your point, Tulsi. Now she talks about how biological males hold an advantage over biological females. Technically, this is true, unless the biological male in question is actually on HRT, and how there have actually been studies to prove that at least in some sports, HRT does null any advantage a cis man would have, any advantage a biological male-bodied person would have. Kind of forgot to leave out that big chunk of the story, Tulsi. Then she talks about how this will uphold Title IX, then goes right into how Title IX created new anti-discrimination laws. Which, to me, seems like just a sneaky way of her implying that if you don't agree with her decision on this, you're just okay with women and girls being discriminated against. No, we're not okay with trans people being discriminated against, Tulsi. God, why did I ever actually support this woman in the first place? Then she straight up admits that Title IX discriminates against trans individuals and only protects biological females, which, don't you see how fucked up that is? That'd be kind of like me making a bill that only allows gay men to get benefits, but excludes lesbians, and bi men who have dated women before. I'm pretty sure that goes against equality and egalitarianism. Then she says that there are some people who oppose her bill because they hate Title IX, essentially grouping in all people who disagree with her act, or at least the wording, with bigots who want women to have no rights. Tulsi, that's not the reason a lot of us oppose your bill. Yeah, sure, some do. But fuck those people. We oppose your bill because it is discriminatory. We don't like it when trans women are denied basic rights or basic equality. Then she talks about how it's scientific fact that there's such a thing as a man and woman. Yeah, we literally never said that there wasn't. It's also a scientific fact that there is such a thing as trans people, and HRT can mitigate the athletic advantages that somebody who was assigned male at birth and went through male puberty has over somebody who is assigned female at birth and went through female puberty. Oh boy, then we get into her straw man, where she pretty much says that it's hypocrisy if you say there's such a thing as a woman but deny that women biologically exist. Who's denying biological women exist, Tulsi? Show me one person who isn't a complete idiot that actually thinks that. Then she says to deny the biological distinction between what makes woman woman and men men. Tulsi, you're denying the biological fact that HRT can mitigate athletic performances. And look, don't get me wrong, if it were only for certain sports where the man would, somebody who did go through male puberty would have advantages, or in situations where the person who was AMAB would have advantages that wouldn't be mitigated by HRT without some sort of handicap, I would not actually have a problem. That much of a problem with this bill. The wording, yeah, but like probably not the bill itself for all that much. But that's the thing. She pretty much only went after trans women across the board and has kind of sneakily implied in this little video so far that she only thinks you're a woman if you're a biological woman, and that you're just a man pretending to play woman if you are trans, which you're not. And if any of you decide to be transphobic in the comments, I will delete those, so don't even try. Yay, more emotional manipulation. She talks about her mother, who was extremely athletic but never had the advantage. And yeah, that sucks, but you're literally just doing that here with other women. They just weren't lucky enough to be born the correct gender, the correct sex appearance they want to be. Then she talks about friends of hers whose daughters are competitive wrestlers. Here's the thing, they're 10 and 12, which is actually kind of before most boys would be going through their puberty, or when most boys would be starting their puberty, so seems kind of moot to actually mention them here. Then she brings up some high school girl who wrote her a letter saying she's concerned that a biological male, which is literally just her nitpicking science at this point. Yeah, there's other fields of biology besides man chromosomes strong, woman chromosomes weak, that she refuses to acknowledge. Now look, it sucks this one high school girl's scared she's gonna lose her opportunities, but here's the thing. When we're kids, we all think dumb shit. Plus, again, the kid might be going through HRT. And here's the thing, I could be wrong, and if there are any actual biologists out there that want to point out how I'm wrong, I will gladly hear you out. Though you will have to be careful about how you word the comment, since YouTube will delete comments sometimes for just no fucking reason. Okay, finally got to her at the end of her video where she urges you to join her in standing up for girls like Totally Real, Not Made Up Yasmin, or the 10 and 12-year-olds, or the other example she nitpicked just to make you feel bad. Look, this video by her is clearly just an attempt to emotionally manipulate you into siding with her, but don't fall for it. Here's the thing, don't just blindly listen to me either. Do the research for yourself. Come to your own conclusions. Because there has already been plenty of studies pretty much proving that HRT will mitigate any advantages that a biological male would have. Okay, that's the video for today. If you liked, go ahead and like, subscribe, ring that bell, all that other stuff the algorithm is forcing me to tell you. Bye.